President John F. Kennedy gives an autograph to a young Barbara Streisand, 1963. This meeting of two future legends, one of whom was already the president and the other a rising Broadway star, became one of the symbols of the Camelot era. The Ministry of Finance in Kabul, 1966. This modern building in the modernist style is a reminder that before the war, Afghanistan was a secular and developing country, open to the world. Actress Cheryl Ladd, one of Charlie's Angels. She joined the series after Farrah Fawcett's departure and managed not only to maintain high ratings but also to become a new sex symbol of the 70s. PRC Chairman Jiang Zemin and former U.S. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, 1995. Kissinger, who opened China to America in the 70s, remained one of the foremost experts on the country for the rest of his life and was held in high esteem by the Chinese leadership. Actress Vivian Lee in 1937, 2 years before her triumphant role as Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind. Even in this early photograph, her gaze already shows the strength and fragility that would captivate millions of viewers. Princess Badia bint Ali Center, the sole survivor of the Iraqi royal family after the bloody coup of 1958. This photograph, taken in peacetime, is a reminder of the tragic fate of an entire dynasty. Queen of Country Dolly Parton, 1978. With her big hair, bright makeup, and revealing outfits, she created a unique stage persona that made her one of the most recognizable and beloved singers in America. A Beatles concert in the mid-60s, capturing the phenomenon known as Beatlemania. For their parents' generation, it was mass hysteria, but for these girls, it was their first sense of freedom and a chance to release emotions that society forbade them from expressing. A perfume vending machine in a women's restroom, 1952. For 10 cents, any lady could freshen up her scent, choosing from one of the popular perfumes of the time, including Chanel. The Beach Boys, the kings of surf rock in the early 60s. The irony was that out of the entire group, only one member, Dennis Wilson, knew how to surf, and for the others, the board was just part of their stage image. This is not Hans Zimmer, but composer and electronic music pioneer Klaus Schulze next to his giant Big Moog synthesizer. It was enthusiasts like him in the 70s who laid the foundation for all modern electronic music. The world's first pocket television, the Sinclair Microvision, 1966. Despite its tiny screen and only 2 channels, this gadget seemed like a true marvel of technology and a harbinger of an era when everyone would have their own personal screen. The king of pop, Michael Jackson, and Hollywood legend Fred Astaire, late 70s. For Michael, who idolized Astaire and watched his films hundreds of times, this meeting was a dream come true, and for Astaire himself, an introduction to the future #1 dancer in the world. Elizabeth Taylor on set in 1967, possessor of a rare genetic mutation, a double row of eyelashes which made her gaze unforgettable. Combined with her violet eyes, this created a look that drove millions of men around the world mad. A car service station in 1927 when repairing a car was a true art. In an era before complex electronics and computers, mechanics had to rely solely on their hearing, experience, and a set of simple tools. The Washington Monument, unfinished due to the Civil War, 1860. This stump, which stood like this for almost 20 years, became a symbol for contemporaries of a divided nation that managed to find the strength to become whole again. Engineer Karen Ledley works with an analog computer at the Space Division of General Dynamics, 1964. In the era before microchips, performing complex calculations required manually connecting hundreds of wires, turning programming into the painstaking work of a telephone operator. Actress Candice Bergen on the beach in 1968. Even in an informal setting, she did not lose her aristocratic charm, which made her one of the most stylish and intelligent women in Hollywood. Mary Wallace, the first female bus driver in Chicago, 1974. She worked behind the wheel for 33 years, becoming a true city legend and a symbol that there are no purely male professions. Actress Anita Ekberg, star of the film La Dolce Vita, with a bow and arrows at her home. After being hounded by paparazzi, she didn't call the police but simply shot one of them in the leg, proving that you don't mess with Swedish women. The Heinz Factory, 1897, where a woman in a formal Victorian dress and bonnet operates a machine for sealing bottles of ketchup. This picture is a reminder of a time when even assembly line production required manual labor and an impeccable appearance. Legendary pitcher Bob Feller, nicknamed Rapid Robert. His pitch was considered one of the fastest in baseball history, and he himself became a living legend, playing his entire career for one club, the Cleveland Indians. Harrison Ford as Colonel Lucas in Francis Ford Coppola's film Apocalypse Now. This small but memorable role was one of the first in his career, before he became Han Solo and Indiana Jones. Students of one of Sweden's first schools for girls with the right to higher education, 1908. While the world stood on the brink of great upheavals, these serious faces in austere dresses were already preparing to fight for their rights and change society from within. A wheat field grown by artist Agnes D. Nez on a landfill in Manhattan, right at the foot of the World Trade Center, 1982. This art project, which became a symbol of the confrontation between nature and civilization, was one of the boldest and most large-scale in the history of modern art. Stevie Nicks, the vocalist of Fleetwood Mac, at a concert in 1989. Her mystical image, flowing outfits, and unique voice made her the Queen of Rock and a style icon for a whole generation. The first cosmonaut on the planet, Yuri Gagarin, and his sports car, a Matra jet. This French car was not just a gift to the Soviet hero, but a symbol of his worldwide fame, which even overcame the Iron Curtain. Soba noodle delivery in Tokyo, 1955, when an ordinary delivery man possessed the skills of an acrobat. In post-war Japan, where a car was a luxury, these guys on bicycles managed to weave through traffic with a tower of dozens of orders, proving that nothing is impossible. Fashion designer Pierre Cardin, surrounded by his sketches of uniforms for nurses of the future, created in 1970. While the whole world was listening to Jimi Hendrix and wearing bell-bottoms, Cardin was already dressing medical staff for Stanley Kubrick's Space Odyssey, mass vaccination against polio in the USA in the 50s. After the disease claimed thousands of children's lives, the invention of the vaccine became a real salvation and one of the greatest achievements of 20th century medicine, stopping the epidemic. The transportation of the space shuttle prototype Enterprise through California, 1977. To move this giant spacecraft, entire highways had to be closed, creating huge traffic jams in an era before mobile phones. This is not Hans Zimmer, but composer and electronic music pioneer Klaus Schulze next to his giant Big Moog synthesizer. It was enthusiasts like him in the 70s who laid the foundation for all modern electronic music. Times Square, New York, 1956, at the height of the automobile boom and consumer fever. Huge sedans, a sea of neon signs, and pedestrians trying to navigate this chaos. This is what the center of the world looked like in the post-war era. The opening of the Cinecittà film studio in Rome, 1937. Benito Mussolini personally oversaw this project, and the slogan, "Cinema is the most powerful weapon," made it clear that the fascist regime viewed cinema not as art, but as a powerful propaganda tool. Marilyn Monroe at Grand Central Station in New York, 1955. Even in an ordinary crowd, she looked like a real movie star, proving that true glamour does not depend on red carpets. Jane Mansfield flirts with a sailor, 1957. She was one of the main sex symbols of her era, and always enjoyed interacting with servicemen, becoming a real dream girl for them. The transportation of Chevrolet Vega cars in special vertical rail cars, the 70s. To reduce delivery costs and make the car more affordable, engineers developed this unique system that allowed 30 cars to be transported instead of 18. Actress Suzanne Pleshette in the 60s. With her deep voice and piercing gaze, she was one of the most atypical and memorable stars of her time, and her role in Hitchcock's The Birds has forever gone down in cinema history. This is Hannah Stille Gorby, a woman born in 1746. 30 years before the founding of the United States. She witnessed the birth and development of an entire country, and this daguerreotype, taken around 1850, is one of the rarest photographs of people from that era. The German airship Graf Zeppelin flies over the pyramids at Giza, 1931. This photograph, where the most ancient wonder of the world meets the latest technology of its time, is a vivid symbol of the clash of two civilizations. Actress Shelley Duvall at an airport. Her unconventional, almost alien-like appearance set her apart from typical Hollywood beauties and attracted the most daring directors. This is the Titanic in the port of Southampton before its first and last voyage in April 1912. At that moment, it seemed an unsinkable marvel of engineering, but just a few days later its name would become synonymous with the greatest tragedy.